If you were a kid in the 1980s, you probably played a game called Mega Man. It was a tough-as-nails platformer with multiple challenges, bosses, and enemies to get through. Most video games in the 80s had to be tough so you wouldn't blow through them in an afternoon. Mega Man would spiral on to make millions of spin-off games. Mega Man X, Mega Man Zero, Mega Man Star Force, Mega Man Legends, Battle Network, a fucking football game. Thing is, Mega Man was definitely a big step for Capcom, who was still stuck making arcade games and not making a huge dent into the home video game scene like Nintendo or Square Enix were. That's where Mega Man came in to fill in the patch for Capcom into the home video game market. I mean, let's be honest here, you all know this by now. Yet many fans have wondered what is the best Mega Man game of the classic variety, one of which being Mega Man 4. Mind you, I've only played 1 through 6, 10, 11, along with X and Power Battle, so my knowledge on the series is still pretty lackluster. So I'll be reviewing Mega Man 4 and seeing if it's truly the best Mega Man game. Mega Man 4 opens with a cutscene explaining how Mega Man got his powers, as he was made to stop the evil Dr. Wily, who was the main villain of Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. But a new guy is in town, Dr. Cossack. Luckily, Mega Man is not going in without new gear. He is donned with the famous Mega Buster. Trust me, we'll talk about this later, but trust me, it's a really good addition to the series. Along with Mega Man 3 Russian Slide, we are ready to whoop some Cossack ass. This isn't RPG level storytelling, but it will do. Most platformers don't have huge complex stories, especially for the NES. With that, we go into the select screen. Mega Man 4 has 8 Robot Masters, which is the standard for the franchise. There's a set order that I follow for this run, so I'll talk about how the stages feel and play via which boss we are on, and also how good the weapon they have. So, let's go and fight our first boss, Toad Man. This is probably my least favorite boss stage in the game. In platformers, you normally have a good feel before jumping in. In Pharaoh Man, it's basically heavily inspired by ancient Egypt. This is just rain, the level. It's not very appealing to look at. The music's pretty alright though. Kinda simple, but also pretty catchy. Though, how does this gameplay feel? It feels like how Mega Man 3 felt. Mega Man feels fine. He still drops like a rock, which makes sense. Also, the platforming in most of these stages are a little better than Mega Man 1 and 3's level design. Though I will always say, I do not like lives in video games that much. Mega Man 4 is balls to the walls hard, and look, I understand that's the core thing about Mega Man on the NES, but sometimes it just feels really unfair. Though, it's way of a better improvement from 1 through 3. Here's one example of a bad boss fight, the Snail Boss. He shoots bombs at you like this, and then just out of nowhere he'll shoot his eyes dead at you, which is bullshit. Call me a bad gamer, but it sometimes feels cheap, and when a game over makes me restart the entire level, which could take a whole 6 or 7 minutes, I just kind of roll my eyes and feel like it's out of my control at times. Yet this game is not as rough as, say, Mega Man 3. I feel Mega Man 10 and 11 are the best numbered entries, mostly because it's easier and I'm a little pussy, but 4 is still fun to play, and not as fair as 1 through 3. To clarify, I'm playing the Legacy Collection, and also there's a rewind feature, which is nice, so if you see me use it, that's because this game has one. Now, the bosses are pretty weird to understand. Playing in an order, you will use the boss weakness to destroy them quicker than you would using the Mega Buster. Now mind you, you are limited on these shots, so you obviously can't use them throughout the entire game, so you have to use them very sparingly as to not waste them. Now, when you're packed to the brim with your weapons and shots, you should be fine. Power-ups are also scattered everywhere so you can pick them up and refill your tank, yet the Mega Buster is never low on shots and is a pretty good attack and does a lot of damage. If you played Cuphead, imagine it as a weaker charge shot. It's pretty useful, especially saving on energy for the bosses. In Mega Man 4, you don't get any items other than E-Tank that restore your HP all the way. In later games, you get M-Tanks that fill up all your shots. Now, on to shots themselves, as we get our first one here with Toad Man. Toad Man is pretty easy, just move when he jumps and you're okay. Oh yeah, if you see him be like Elvis and shake his hips, shoot him with the Mega Buster to stop him from summoning the rain. Still pretty simple. After beating Toad Man, you get Rain Flush. I don't like this weapon. Basically, it's a screen wipe, which I don't really like those kinds of weapons. It's better than the freeze shot from 3, mostly because it doesn't drain your entire shot, plus it actually has animation, and the sound effect is pretty good for an NES game. Alright, well, now on to the next boss, Bright Man. Bright Man stage starts with these enemies that shoot up fireworks and these flying light bulbs that if killed they will make the background and ground black out and impossible to see unless you remember the screen beforehand. To relight them is by shooting the firework creature. Then you go to the section where you ride grasshoppers over these spikes and shoot at totem bots. Why is this in Brightman stage? Serious tone shift in my opinion. It's just odd it doesn't fit the theme at all. There's also these spiny top enemies which also doesn't fit either. The enemy is kind of all over the place. Then at the end we of course fight Brightman. He can freeze you with his flash stop and shoot his own arm cannon. His weakness is obviously Toadman's rain flush. It's not very hard. After beating him, you actually get the flash stopper, which I thought would be just another shitty screen wipe that I wouldn't use, but it's actually really good. Why is it really good? Well, it lets you shoot the Mega Buster still and attack the enemies you want, which is really nice. You still can't charge the Mega Buster and can't change to another weapon, but other than that, it's pretty good. Speaking of really good, let's go fight Pharaoh Man. Ah, finally, some nice theming. Mega Man 6 is one of my favorite of the classic NES saga of games, and the main reason is the theming of the other countries. Luckily, Pharaoh Man theming can go toe-to-toe with 6 theming. You're in the desert and you have to go through quicksand, fighting scorpions, and go into the tombs with bats and mummies. It's pretty fucking cool, and it keeps to an amazing theme. Also, one thing, there's more of these spikes and weird platforms. Those are small potatoes compared to Brightman's theming, but I thought I should point them out. Also, platforming was really fun as well. I feel like you have to play it to understand what I mean. It's really enjoyable, and that could go for the entire game. Alright, now we go into the boss room and... oh, he's already dead. Pharaoh Man is not very tough. He's actually very easy, especially with the right gear, aka the flash stopper. At the end, we get the Pharaoh shot. To be honest, Pharaoh Man is so far one of my favorite stages for the theming and platforming alone. Alright, now we are on to Ring Man. The stage opens with these platforms that disappear. Before we fully get into this stage, we have to talk about the 2 types of bosses. This weird spring boss looking guy, and then a hippo. To be honest, this is kinda bad. Most of the level is these 2 bosses. Though you can skip one of the ring fights, the hippos you cannot. Also, I forgot to mention this, but they added Eddie into this game. Eddie's a character who aids Mega Man by giving him items such as a power-up to regen health or recharge his weapons. Also, Eddie is kinda hidden in some places, but some places you can find him really quick and easy, so I mean, it's pretty nice that they decided to add in Eddie, as it's just a nice little addition that could heal you up and make you feel like the game isn't always constantly kicking your ass. For the non-boss fight sections, they use a space theme, which is cool. Hell, you even get to fight Saturn, which is tiny compared to him. Alright guys, move Mega Man up the power tier. When we get into the fight with Ring Man, I struggled hard. This might just be me being dumb, but I thought Pharaoh Shot was this man's weakness. He's extremely fast, and I guess I just have really slow reaction time, but man, he's just faster than Sonic if he did 3 pounds of crack and bath salts at a local strip club. Seriously though, it's alright. I was able to beat him with the power of time on my side. Then we get the Ring Boomerang, which is the next weapon on the tier list. Alright, the perfect weakness for Dust Man! Are you fucking serious? This is the next boss? Alright, alright. We go to the dump and man, it fucking stinks! Nah, not really. This level is actually pretty cool. Basically, you have these crushers and you have to break out these blocks or you'll get crushed. Pretty cool segment. Other than that, there's nothing really noteworthy. Dustman can't be damaged by any attacks if he uses his suction, which is odd, but whatever. I'm not really sure what else to say about this level. It's pretty forgettable. The weapon, the Dust Crusher, is actually pretty cool though. It's like the Mega Buster but shoots in 4 directions. I love the theming though, as you're in the dump and most dust is found in the dump. It's really cool, but honestly, there's just not that much to remember about this level, other than the theming of course. Skullman stage is based off digging sites they used to dig up dinosaur bones, which mostly seems to be the theme of the stage, which is fine. I personally would have went for a more graveyard feel and you have to fight robot zombies or something like that. Though I don't see how Dustman is effective against them. Maybe because skulls collect dust? I don't know. Skullman himself is not that tough though, and the level itself is surprisingly easy. Also the battle return, fuck those guys. Anyways, again, a pretty good stage and a cool boss. We get the Skull Barrier, which is near the same as the Leaf Shield from Mega Man 2. All in all, pretty solid, or should I say, bad to the bone. Dive Man stage is just water, and my god, it falls into almost every game's water level because it sucks. You jump extremely high and sometimes into spikes on the next screen, then you walk slowly, and then man, it's just not very fun. Oh hey, secret path. I haven't brought them up yet because I haven't spotted any. You can collect goodies like this grapple, and mind you, you don't have to get them unless you're going for 100%, but still, it's nice if you find one. Yet sometimes it's hidden in holes in the ground which, if you're a little nervous to test the water, just use the rewind. I know I've skipped one and a few maybe on some pathways, but I'm too far in. Wait, what were we talking about again? Oh yeah, Dive Man stage. Yeah, not a fan of this stage. You fight these whales, which you use Bright Beam, which is really useful as I stated a bit ago, and bam, they die in a couple of shots. As for the boss, he is really tough. Use the Skull Barrier, which yes, you do have to get close, but you do a lot of damage to him. You get the dive missiles, and then you're on to the final robot master, Drill Man! Drill Man stage is based off of Mineshaft, which makes sense. The platforming in this level is actually pretty good, and yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. This game just feels really good to play, I just had to say it again. And bam, Drill Man, the final boss that we have to get until we get to Cossack. Drill Man is one of the easiest bosses ever. He digs into the ground and shoots his drill, and all you have to do is use the dive mine that you got from the last boss, and bam, you win. Also, I used the grapple one time at this level. Woo. Yeah, nothing much to say, it's pretty underwhelming. You get the dive bomb and now you're on to kick Cossack in the Cossack. So now we journey on to Russia to beat Cossack. Now, I want to level with you guys for a second. These stages are a breath of fresh air. The theming is really nice and varied, but I can't say that about the bosses. The weird bug boss is so out of place and isn't fun to fight. The box robot is annoying to fight, and one of the most unfair fights because you have to jump on the platforms and bug boss fights are super easy and just use the dive mine and bam, you win. While the bosses are junk, the levels are really good and fun to play and feel great to play just like the rest of the game. So how good is Cossack himself as a boss though? It's not very good. So he rides around this claw thing, then can grab you. If you know the Arcade Bunny Assist trophy from Smash Bros, that's basically what he is but on a smaller scale, and when he grabs you, he drops you and does damage to you. Okay, a bit of a side note, but Mega Man 4's representation of Smash Bros Ultimate is really lacking. 3 spirits and 1 track is really sad. Sorry, I'll continue. Dustman's weapon is the best weapons here, so just use that on him. The castle was a very mixed bag, but at least it's all over. Wait, who's this? Who did Pharaoh Man just bring? Oh, apparently it's the daughter of Cossack, Kalinka. She tells us that Cossack was threatened by none other than Dr. Wily. Great. Wily appears and now we have to go explore a new Wily Castle. Just great. So now we have to go do another level, and this time it's Dr. Wily's Castle, and I'm just going to say this, Dr. Wily plagues this series. I believe this game could have been 12 times better if the game ended with Cossack being the final boss. Here's why. Imagine if this game left you on a cliffhanger of where did Dr. Wily go. Mega Man 5 has you explore Pharaoh Man's castle. That would have been a perfect setup if Mega Man 4 didn't have this section. Mega Man 4 has Proto appear only for this cutscene, and that's it. This game would have been perfect if they just kept going with this instead of constantly dragging Wily back. This game would have looked back at more favorably by the fans if this game had Cossack just be the main villain instead of this game being mixed up with 5 and 6 where people will say this is just a better 3 with a little bit more content. Also, they follow the same theme of Mega Man 4, 5, and 6 having you think that Wily isn't back and that it was someone else at the control, but instead, oh no, it was actually Dr. Wily the entire time and now we have to go and defeat him. It gets really annoying after a certain amount of time, especially playing all 6 of these games together at the same time. Dr. Wily shouldn't always be the main driving villain for the classic Mega Man games. I'm not talking about the other games because I know they have different villains that's not Dr. Wily. I'm meaning the numbered entries of the classic games. That's what I'm basically mentioning. One game franchise that actually has multiple different villains, especially final bosses, is actually the Super Mario Bros. Series. And before you say it's always Bowser, let me just say this. 1, at least Bowser doesn't always just want to kidnap Peach. For example, him taking over the entire galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy. And 2, Super Mario Land 2, and Super Mario Bros. 2 have different final bosses in those entries. It feels way more unique. Hell, Land's 2 final boss became a mainstay and got his own sub-series. Mind you, I'm talking about final bosses. The robot masters and certain bosses changed from each entry, though the story side is just going back to beat Dr. Wily with no more substance. At least Cossack could have opened up more doors for opportunities for the story. I know I said stories don't really matter for platformers on the NES, but god, it would have made the series feel so much more refreshing if we didn't just keep fighting the same fucker every week! Weirdly enough, they could have actually done something with Mega Man 4 having Cossack be the final guy, because in Mega Man 6, Dr. Wily is wearing a disguise, and you don't know it's him until after you fight him as Professor X or whatever he's called in that game. Which would have been perfect if they just kept his identity a secret. Okay, enough ranting. How does these stages play? They play just as well as the rest of the game. It does feel like it drags on a little bit, and it does still kind of feel like Mega Man 3's Wily Castle, but at the end of the day, it still feels really good to play. And also, you have to fight the original Robot Masters again, yada yada, status quo, we all know this stuff. Though Wily in the game is alright, it's hard to hit him in the second phase. You chase him down and you gotta just hit him with the Pharaoh shot, and then the game ends with Mega Man blowing up the entire castle and thus the credits, ending off this game with a little hint that we're going to be seeing Wily in the next entry. Again, it doesn't have to be like this, and honestly it could have been way better if Wily didn't escape and then that we had a whole game without Wily, but whatever, status quo, whatever bullshit they want to pull. And that is Mega Man 4. So, Mega Man 4 was a trip. The rant at the end is mostly one of the small amounts of problems that I had with the game. So is Mega Man 4 mid? Nah. Mega Man 4 is pretty fun. The gameplay is good, the character and level designs are really awesome for the time. It is not the best NES game though, as Final Fantasy, Super Mario Bros. 3, and The Legend of Zelda might have something to say about that. Yet, it is a good game on the NES, and definitely not near the bad levels of the Blues Brothers for the NES. Yeah, is it the best Mega Man game? Nah, I like 10 more, but it's a good one to start with on the classic series. Trust me, there's a lot of games in the series that really fucking sucks that would make this game look like the best video game ever created. I'm looking at you, Mega Man X7. Mega Man 4 is a pretty good game overall. It's a 7.5 out of 10. If you want to give this game a try for yourself, you can actually play the game on most modern consoles like the PS4, 5, Xbox Series S and X, and also on the Nintendo Switch. It's on the Legacy Collection, and if you want to play it, I say give it a shot. It's really fun. And also, there's also a bunch of other good Mega Man games on the Legacy Collection if you want to give them a shot. But anyways, I'm going to have to end this video here. See you guys in the next video. Peace out.